My capstone project is an art exhibit that focuses on how we ethically photograph poverty. So I've taken 25 photographs that I've taken over the past 2 or 3 years in Kibera, Kenya, so the largest urban slum in the world, a slum located within the boundaries of Nairobi, Kenya. And a lot of it's kind of street photography, and I am having people who have different levels of interaction with Kibera react to the photographs. So I thought it was really important, if I was going to do something with photography, to uplift the voices of people that are not just myself, as I'm not a resident of Kibera. I feel like I have a pretty intense connection with the place, but it's not my home, and I do come from a different level of privilege. My sophomore year, my dad and I planned a trip to Kenya. It was kind of a fun exploration trip, and we went to like a safari, we stayed in a really nice neighborhood in Nairobi, but we also did what was essentially a slum tour with this nonprofit he was working with, the Human Needs Project in Kibera. And walking through, at that point I was really interested in photography, and I took a lot of photographs in the streets and of people, and I was really interested by how photography worked in a place like Kibera, where there are Kibera-based photographers, but people are pretty opposed to having their picture taken once they're older. There's a really big perception that Americans will come in, take their photo, and then sell it for a lot of money. And I was really interested in these ethics. And just kind of as I went through my time in the Human Rights Program, I really started focusing on like dignity of the people that you work with. And something I became really interested in was like, how do you use photography in a way that uplifts human rights and like promotes dignity and promotes everything we talk about in like the Declaration of Human Rights, when photography that's really impactful tends to have some sort of like taking reaction, and what's lost in terms of like humanity for these people. And so I really wanted a project that explored some of those ethical things, but I really do enjoy photography, and I love taking pictures, and I wanted to kind of combine those two loves in a way that examined human rights, but also wasn't paralyzing for me as a photographer. At one point, my capstone was me not wanting to show any of my own photographs and just like going to talk about photography ethics using Kibera as a case study. And I think that is kind of unfair. I think people in Kibera want to be shown in some way. When I talk to people, people are really permissive with me using their photographs or wanting me to show people what's going on in Kibera. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad. And I think photographs are important to like show the human rights abuses that occur in an urban slum. For everyone in the class, we all were working on things that were really important to us as people, and wanting to do right by the communities that you're working with and representing, which I think lends, for me at least, to a lot of being like paralyzed in terms of wanting to make the right choice and like not put anyone at risk and not harm, which I think is a hard thing to do with something like photography for me personally. I'm still not totally sure if what I'm doing is okay. I have a lot of qualms about the fact that I get to fly into a slum and photograph and hang out with my friends and like drink a beer, and then I get to leave at the end of the night. So I'm still, grappling with whether or not my project is like completely 100% ethically okay. But I think something that this class was really helpful for was showing me that I wasn't alone in any of these like struggles, but also that, to do good and hard work, sometimes you're gonna have to make hard decisions and go with what you believe in.